The strongest people you know carry a peculiar burden. They feel everything. They sense what others hide. They see through the masks. And for this gift, they pay a price. Because there are those who cannot afford to be seen. You know this already, don't you? You've felt it in your body. That strange tension when you're around certain people. The way your stomach tightens. The way your energy drains. You thought something was wrong with you. But what if I told you that your sensitivity isn't your weakness? What if it's precisely what makes you dangerous to those who live in deception? Stay with me here. This matters more than you realize. For over 4 decades, I've studied human behavior. I've sat with thousands of people. I've listened to their stories, their pain, their confusion. And I've noticed something profound. There's a pattern. A dance that happens between 2 types of people. One sees everything, the other hides everything, and when they meet, something inevitable unfolds. You are living in a time when understanding this dynamic isn't optional anymore, it's survival. Your mental health depends on it. Your relationships depend on it. Your entire future depends on recognizing what I'm about to share with you. Let's start with something simple. What is an empath, really? Strip away all the mystical language. Remove the spiritual jargon. What you're left with is this: someone who feels the emotional reality of others as if it were their own. You walk into a room and you know. You don't know how you know, but you know. Someone is angry, someone is sad, someone is lying. You absorb it all. You feel it in your chest, in your throat, in your bones. This isn't weakness. Listen to me carefully. This is heightened perception. This is emotional intelligence operating at a level most people never reach. But here's what nobody tells you. This gift makes you a threat, a serious threat to a very specific type of person. The narcissist lives in a constructed reality. They've built an entire world around a false image. They need you to believe in this image. They need everyone to believe in it. Their survival depends on it. Because underneath that image, there's a wound so deep, so terrifying, that they've spent their entire life running from it. And then you show up with your ability to see, with your capacity to feel what's real beneath what's performed. And without saying a word, you become their greatest fear. Think about this for a moment. Really think about it. When you can see through someone's mask, you hold a power they cannot control. You threaten the very foundation of their existence, not because you want to, but because you exist. Because truth radiates from you naturally, the way light exposes what's hidden in darkness. Now here's where it gets interesting. The narcissist doesn't consciously know this. They're not sitting in a room plotting against empaths. They're operating from deep programming, from ancient wounds, from a terror so primal they've forgotten it exists. But their unconscious mind knows. It knows you're dangerous, and it will do everything in its power to neutralize that danger. How do they do this? Pay attention now. This is where you need to wake up. This is where your awareness becomes your protection. They make you question your perception. You felt something, you sensed something was off, you noticed an inconsistency. And they tell you you're too sensitive, you're imagining things, you're crazy. This has a name, it's called gaslighting. But it's more than just a psychological term. It's a systematic dismantling of your trust in yourself. And it works, because you're wired to doubt yourself already. You're wired to consider that maybe, just maybe, you're wrong. But you're not wrong. You never were. Your body doesn't lie. Your intuition doesn't lie. That feeling in your gut when something's off, that's millions of years of evolutionary wisdom speaking to you. And they need you to ignore it. Because the moment you trust it, their game is over. Let me give you a concrete example. You're in a relationship. Your partner tells you they love you. The words are perfect. The timing is perfect. But something feels hollow. You feel it. A disconnection between their words and their energy. You mention it gently, carefully, and they explode, or they withdraw, or they turn it around. Suddenly you're the problem. You're too needy. You're too demanding. You can't just accept love. You always have to analyze everything. See what happened there? In 30 seconds, they shifted the entire focus from their emotional unavailability to your supposed deficiency. And if you're not aware, if you haven't developed this consciousness, you believe it. You take it on. You carry their shame, their emptiness, their void. This is the transfer. This is what they do. They cannot tolerate their own inner reality, so they project it onto you. And because you're an empath, because you're wired to take on the emotions of others, you absorb it. You make it yours. You spend years trying to fix something in yourself that was never broken, while they walk away clean, unburdened, free. Are you starting to see it now? Are you starting to recognize the pattern? Here's another layer. The narcissist needs supply. This is crucial to understand. They need constant validation, constant admiration, constant proof that they're special, superior, different from everyone else. Their entire sense of self depends on this external feeding. Without it, they collapse. Without it, they have to face the emptiness inside. And that's the one thing they cannot do. You, as an empath, are premium supply. You're not just any source of validation, you're the best source. Because you give completely, you give authentically, you see potential in people, you believe in people, you offer your entire heart, and they feed on this, they consume it, they drain every drop. And when you're empty, when you have nothing left to give, they discard you. They move on. They find the next person, the next source. And you're left wondering what you did wrong. You're left analyzing every conversation, every interaction, every moment, trying to figure out where you failed, how you could have been better, how you could have loved them enough to make them stay. But this is the lie. This is the trap. You didn't fail. You couldn't have succeeded because it was never about you. It was never about your capacity to love. It was about their incapacity to receive love, their inability to even recognize what real love is. Real love requires vulnerability. It requires being seen as you actually are. It requires risk. It requires trust. The narcissist cannot do this. They've built walls so thick, so impenetrable, that nothing gets in, nothing real anyway. Only the performance, only the image, only the supply. You've probably noticed this yourself. When you try to have a real conversation, a deep conversation about feelings, about connection, about what's actually happening between you, what happened? They changed the subject. They made a joke. They got angry. They left the room. Anything to avoid going deeper. Anything to avoid being truly seen. Because here's what they know. Even if they can't articulate it, you see the truth. You see the scared child hiding behind the grandiose mask. You see the insecurity, the shame, the self-hatred, and they cannot allow this. They cannot allow anyone to see this, because if you see it, it becomes real. And if it becomes real, they have to feel it. And feeling it would destroy them. So they attack, they defend, they deflect, they do whatever it takes to keep you at a distance, to keep everyone at a distance. And the tragedy is, they're desperately lonely, desperately isolated, living in a prison of their own making. But they cannot find the door, they cannot find the way out, and you, in your compassion, you see this. You want to help. You want to save them. You think if you just love them enough, if you just show them enough patience, enough understanding, they'll heal. They'll open up. They'll let you in. But this is your wound speaking. This is your own need to be needed, your own need to prove your worth through saving others. And this is where you must wake up. This is where your awareness must become sharper than your compassion. You cannot save someone who doesn't want to be saved. You cannot heal someone who denies they're wounded. You cannot love someone into wholeness when they're committed to their brokenness. This isn't giving up on them. This is accepting reality. This is honoring what is, rather than what you wish could be. Let's talk about the specific ways this fear manifests. Because fear doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like rage. Sometimes it looks like indifference. Sometimes it looks like charm. When a narcissist feels threatened by your perception, they have a predictable toolkit. First, they'll try to charm you back into compliance. They'll be sweet, attentive. They'll give you just enough to make you doubt your concerns. This is called hoovering. They're sucking you back in. And it works because you want to believe, because you're tired of being suspicious, because you miss the good times. But watch what happens after you relax, after you let your guard down, after you trust again. The same patterns emerge, the same emptiness, the same emotional unavailability, because nothing has changed. Nothing could change, because they're not doing the inner work, they're managing your perception. There's a difference, a massive difference. If charm doesn't work, they escalate, they criticize, they belittle, they make you feel small. They attack the very qualities that make you strong. Your sensitivity becomes weakness, your caring becomes neediness, your intuition becomes paranoia. They systematically dismantle your sense of self. And if you stay long enough, if you endure this long enough, you start to believe them. You start to see yourself through their distorted lens. This is the danger. This is what you must understand. The longer you stay in proximity to someone who fears your light, the dimmer your light becomes. Not because there's anything wrong with your light, but because you're constantly adjusting it, dimming it, hiding it, to make them comfortable, to avoid their rage, to keep the peace. But what peace are you keeping? Is it really peace when you can't be yourself? Is it really peace when you're walking on eggshells? Is it really peace when you're constantly anxious about their next mood swing? That's not peace, that's survival. And survival mode is not a way to live. It's a way to slowly die inside. Your body knows this. Your body has been telling you this. The headaches, the stomach issues, the exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, the anxiety that comes from nowhere. Your body is screaming at you, begging you to pay attention, pleading with you to leave, to save yourself, to choose yourself. But you don't. Why? Because you've been conditioned to believe that choosing yourself is selfish, that real love means sacrifice, that if you just try harder, things will improve. These are the lies we've been taught. These are the beliefs that keep us trapped. Real love doesn't require you to diminish yourself. Real love doesn't demand that you silence your truth. Real love doesn't punish you for having needs. Real love celebrates your sensitivity, honors your perception, welcomes your authenticity. Anything less isn't love. It's something else entirely. Now, let's go deeper. Let's explore why this dynamic is so common. Why so many empaths find themselves in relationships with narcissists. This isn't random. This isn't bad luck. There's a psychological magnetism at work, and understanding it will change everything. Empaths are often drawn to narcissists because narcissists present a challenge. They're the one person who doesn't immediately respond to your empathy. They're the puzzle you can't solve, the wall you can't break through. And unconsciously, you think, if I can reach this person, if I can make this person feel, I'll prove something. I'll prove I'm worthy. I'll prove I'm special. I'll prove I'm enough. But this is your own wound. See it clearly. This need to earn love from someone who's incapable of giving it. This need to prove yourself to someone who's determined not to see you. This comes from somewhere, usually from childhood, usually from a parent who was emotionally unavailable, distant, critical, narcissistic themselves. You learned early that love is something you have to work for, something you have to earn, something that's conditionally given and arbitrarily withdrawn. So as an adult, you unconsciously seek out the same dynamic, not because you enjoy suffering, but because it's familiar. Because somewhere deep inside, you believe this is what love is supposed to feel like. Difficult, painful, just out of reach. This is the revelation that changes everything. When you see this pattern, when you recognize your part in it, not because you're to blame, but because you're the only one who can break it. You can't change them. You never could, but you can change yourself. You can change your relationship with yourself. You can change what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're willing to call love. The narcissist fears you because you have something they don't have. Access to your own inner world, the ability to feel, the capacity for genuine connection, the courage to be vulnerable. These aren't small things. These are the very qualities that make us human, that make life meaningful, that make relationships possible. They see these qualities in you and they hate you for it. Not consciously, but underneath, because you represent everything they've had to kill in themselves to survive. You represent the authentic self they buried, the vulnerability they armored against, the feelings they numbed, and your mere presence reminds them of what they've lost, of what they've sacrificed, of what they'll never have. This is why they cannot let you win. This is why they cannot let you be right. This is why every conversation becomes a battle. Every disagreement becomes a war. Because if they admit you're right, if they acknowledge your perspective, if they validate your feelings, they have to question everything. They have to face the possibility that they're wrong, that they've been wrong, that their entire way of being is built on a foundation of lies. And they cannot do this. The ego structure is too fragile. The wounds are too deep. The fear is too great. So they double down, they gaslight harder, They manipulate more. They rage louder. Anything to avoid the truth, anything to maintain the illusion. You've experienced this, haven't you? That moment when you presented clear evidence, clear facts, clear reality, and they looked you in the eye and told you it didn't happen, or it happened differently, or you're remembering it wrong. And for a moment you questioned yourself. For a moment you wondered if maybe they're right, if maybe you are crazy. This is the power of their conviction. They believe their own lies. They have to, because admitting the truth would shatter them. So they commit fully to the false narrative. And they do it with such confidence, such certainty, that you start to doubt your own memory, your own experience, your own reality. But here's what you need to understand. Your reality is valid. Your experience is real. Your feelings are legitimate. You don't need their validation. You don't need their agreement. You don't need them to admit what happened. You know what happened. Your body knows. Your heart knows. And that's enough. This is the shift. This is the moment of empowerment. When you stop needing them to see your truth, when you stop trying to make them understand, when you stop explaining, defending, justifying, when you simply know and you act from that knowing. What does this look like practically? It looks like setting boundaries, real boundaries, not threats, not ultimatums, but clear, firm statements about what you will and won't accept, what you will and won't tolerate, what you will and won't participate in. And here's what happens when you set a real boundary with a narcissist. They test it immediately. They push against it. They violate it. They act like it doesn't exist. Because boundaries are intolerable to them. Boundaries mean they can't control you, they can't manipulate you, they can't access you whenever they want. And this triggers their deepest fear. Abandonment, rejection, being alone with themselves. So they escalate, they love bomb, they rage, they play victim, they recruit others to their side, they smear your reputation. They tell everyone who will listen how terrible you are, how crazy you are, how you're the problem. And if you're not prepared for this, if you don't understand what's happening, it can devastate you. But when you understand the mechanism, when you see it clearly, it loses its power. You recognize it for what it is. A desperate attempt to regain control. A frantic effort to pull you back in. A last-ditch manipulation to make you doubt yourself again. And you don't fall for it. You hold your boundary. You trust yourself. You choose yourself. And they cannot forgive you for this. They cannot forgive you for choosing yourself over them, for seeing through them, for refusing to play the game. So they discard you, they cut you off, they move on, and in their narrative, you're the villain. You're the one who wronged them. You're the one who wasn't good enough. Let them have that narrative. Let them tell that story. Your truth doesn't require their acknowledgement. Your worth doesn't depend on their opinion. Your healing doesn't need their participation. You're free now. Truly free, even if it doesn't feel like it yet, even if the pain is overwhelming, even if you're grieving what you thought you had. Because what you're grieving isn't real. It's the illusion, the potential, the fantasy of who they could be if only they would change. But they're not going to change. Not for you, not for anyone. Change requires self-awareness. It requires humility. It requires the willingness to look at yourself honestly. And they don't have these capacities. Maybe they never will. This isn't about judging them. This isn't about making them wrong. This is about accepting reality. This is about dealing with what is rather than what you wish could be. And what is this. You cannot have a real relationship with someone who isn't real. You cannot have genuine intimacy with someone who wears a mask. You cannot build a future with someone who lives in the past. So you let go, not with bitterness, not with resentment, but with understanding, with compassion, with the recognition that they're suffering too, that their life is a prison, that their existence is torment, but their suffering doesn't obligate you to suffer with them. Their pain doesn't require you to remain in pain. You can have compassion from a distance. You can wish them well from afar. You can hope they find healing without being part of that process. This is maturity. This is wisdom. This is self-love in action. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's survival. It's the foundation of everything else. Because if you don't choose yourself, who will? If you don't protect your energy, who will? If you don't honor your truth, who will? The answer is no one. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to validate you. No one is going to give you permission to live your life. You have to give yourself that permission. You have to become your own validator. You have to be your own protector. And this is hard. This is incredibly hard, especially if you've spent your whole life looking outside yourself for approval, for acceptance, for love. The idea that you can give these things to yourself feels foreign, impossible, selfish even, but it's not. It's essential. You have to learn to trust yourself again, to believe yourself, to honor your intuition, your feelings, your needs. You have to learn that your sensitivity is a gift, not a burden, that your empathy is a strength, not a weakness, that your capacity to feel deeply is what makes you beautifully human. The narcissist fears you because you threaten their false self, but you don't have to fear them. You don't have to shrink. You don't have to hide. You can stand in your truth, speak your truth, live your truth, and let them deal with their own discomfort, their own fear, their own emptiness. This is your power. This is what they can never take from you unless you give it away. And you've been giving it away piece by piece, interaction by interaction, hoping that your sacrifice would earn their love, hoping that your diminishment would make them grow. But it doesn't work that way. It never has. It never will. When you dim your light, you don't help anyone. You don't make anyone comfortable. You just deprive the world of your gifts, your perspective, your love. And the world needs what you have. The world needs your sensitivity, your empathy, your ability to feel. Because there's not enough of that. There's not nearly enough of that. So stop hiding, stop apologizing, stop making yourself smaller to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Find your people, the ones who celebrate you, the ones who appreciate you, the ones who don't need you to explain yourself. They're out there, waiting for you. But you have to be willing to leave the wrong people to find them. And leaving is hard. Leaving feels like failure. Leaving feels like giving up. Leaving feels like you're the bad person. But leaving is often the bravest thing you can do. Leaving is sometimes the only way to save yourself. Leaving is how you reclaim your life, your energy, your peace. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your continued presence in their dysfunction. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to choose differently. And when you do, when you finally choose yourself, something shifts. The universe responds. Opportunities appear. People appear. Resources appear. Not because you're being rewarded, but because you're no longer blocking your own flow. You're no longer directing all your energy toward a black hole. You're no longer pouring into an empty cup. You're free to direct that energy toward yourself, toward your healing, toward your growth, toward your dreams. And that energy is powerful. That energy is transformative. That energy is what creates the life you've always wanted. But you have to take the first step. You have to make the choice. You have to decide that you matter, that your life matters, that your happiness matters. And you have to decide this knowing that they won't understand, they won't approve, they won't support you. And that has to be okay. Because their approval is not the currency you need anymore. You need your own approval, your own validation, your own love. And when you have that, when you truly have that, nothing else can shake you. No criticism can diminish you. No rejection can destroy you. No abandonment can break you. Because you're whole within yourself, complete within yourself, enough within yourself. This is the journey. This is the path. It's not easy. It's not quick. It's not comfortable, but it's worth it. Every moment of discomfort, every wave of grief, every second of doubt, it's worth it. Because on the other side is freedom, real freedom. The freedom to be yourself, fully, completely, unapologetically. The narcissist will never know this freedom. They're too afraid, too defended, too committed to their mask. But you can know it, you can live it, you can embody it. And when you do, you'll understand why they feared you. Because you represent everything they're too terrified to become: authentic, vulnerable, real. You threaten their entire world simply by being yourself. by refusing to play the game, by seeing through the illusion, by choosing truth over comfort. And that's not your problem. That's theirs. You're not responsible for managing their fear. You're not responsible for maintaining their delusion. You're only responsible for your own life, your own choices, your own healing. So choose wisely, choose consciously, choose with your eyes open. Don't choose from fear. Don't choose from guilt. Don't choose from obligation. Choose from love, real love, the kind that includes you, the kind that honors you, the kind that celebrates you. You deserve that kind of love. Not someday, not when you're perfect, not when you've fixed everything. Now, as you are, with all your sensitivity, all your empathy, all your beautiful, complicated, messy humanity, you deserve to be loved, to be seen, to be honored. And if someone can't do that, if someone won't do that, they don't deserve access to you. Protect yourself, guard your energy, trust your intuition, and know that walking away from what's harming you is not weakness. It's strength, it's courage, it's self-love in its highest form. The narcissist fears the empath because the empath sees the truth. And truth is the one thing their entire existence is designed to avoid. But you don't have to avoid truth. You can embrace it. You can live in it. You can be it. And in doing so, you set yourself free from their fear, their manipulation, their control. You are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are not crazy. You are awake. You are aware. You are seeing clearly. And that clarity is your greatest gift. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Don't let anyone dim that light. The world needs you. Exactly as you are, feeling everything, seeing everything, being everything you were meant to be. Stand in that truth. Live from that truth. And watch how your life transforms. Not because you became someone different, but because you finally became fully yourself. Now let me share something with you that might shift everything. The narcissist's fear of you runs deeper than you imagine. It's not just about what you see. It's about what you represent. You represent possibility, the possibility of change, the possibility of healing, the possibility that their entire worldview is wrong. Think about it. They've spent decades building this fortress, this elaborate defense system. They've convinced themselves that vulnerability is weakness, that feelings are dangerous, that authentic connection is impossible. And then you arrive, living proof that another way exists, that people can be open, can be real, can be emotionally available, and your existence alone cracks their foundation. This is why they work so hard to destroy your credibility, to make you doubt yourself, to convince everyone around you that you're the unstable one. Because if you're unstable, then your perception doesn't count, your truth doesn't matter. Your example doesn't threaten their carefully constructed lies. But here's what you must remember in those dark moments. When you're questioning everything, when you're wondering if maybe they're right, when you're exhausted from defending your reality, your consistency is your proof. Look at your other relationships. Look at how you show up in the world. Are you crazy everywhere? Are you the problem in every interaction? Or is it just with them, just in this one relationship? That's your answer. That's your clarity. The narcissist needs you to believe their version of events because your version exposes them. Your version reveals the pattern. Your version shows the manipulation. Your version threatens everything they've worked to hide, so they'll fight harder to discredit you than they ever fought to understand you. Let that sink in. And here's the final truth I want you to carry with you. Your healing threatens them more than your pain ever did. When you were broken, you were manageable. When you were confused, you were controllable. When you were desperate for their approval, you were useful. But when you heal, when you become whole, when you no longer need what they're selling, you become impossible to manipulate. And that terrifies them beyond measure. So heal anyway, grow anyway, become whole anyway, not to prove anything to them, not to show them what they lost, but because you deserve to live fully. You deserve to experience joy. You deserve to know peace. And your healing isn't about them at all. It never was. It's about you reclaiming what was always yours. Your power, your truth, your magnificent, sensitive, deeply feeling self.